We are incredibly lucky to have Matt Harris back on the show today. Matt was in episode 12. We'll link to it if you haven't listened to that. But Matt has so much experience in the retail space, big brands, small brands. He is one of the best salespeople I've ever met. And he has a framework. A few months ago, Matt and I were at an event together, and he was taking me through this framework on how he sells a lot of product. It's for product-based businesses, and it can work for service too, but this is about selling products. And he took me through the method. I'm like, Matt, you got to teach this. It is so good. This is one of the first times he's teaching it on our show, and it will make your store more money. This is training you're going to want to give to, of course, yourself and your team. I would have your team listen to this. This is like fundamental sales training that will elevate. This isn't 101. This is elevation. This is what's going to create an incredible experience and sell more products. This is exactly where retailers need to be focusing their energy when talking to customers about your products. You're going to love this episode. If you can watch it, watch it. We'll have acronyms up on the screen to take you through this framework, but of course, we have more information in the show notes. And be sure to check out mattharrisdesigns.com. Subscribe to his YouTube, DM him on Instagram. He's available. He wants to hear from you. And he just gives us so much. Plus, we talk about YouTube and AI and something that really sets retailers apart when we have a million choices. So that's all in this episode. You're going to love it. Let's dive in. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Crystal Vilkaitis, the Wolf of Main Street, and this is Rooted in Retail. Matt, welcome back to Rooted in Retail. I am thrilled you're here.
It's been like 3 years, I think, since we've done this. And I remember that.
Yeah, almost 3 years. You were episode 12, my friend. You're going to be like 212?
Oh my gosh, how about that, huh?
Yes, I know. So I am so excited you are here. You are one of the most interesting people I know. You are one of the best salespeople I've ever met. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today is we're really going to help retailers sell more. But before we dive in, for anybody who didn't listen to episode 12, will you just take a minute or two and share a little bit more about you and your retail journey?
Yeah, let me speed round it if I can. I started working in malls when I was a teenager because, like, when I was a teenager, that's what everybody did is they went to the mall and stationery stores, this and that. When I went to college, same thing. Worked in a mall, sold ladies' shoes on the Strip in Las Vegas at Dillard's, and then moved to art galleries because I heard they made a lot more money, and they did. And worked in art galleries in Vegas and Rodeo Drive, and then came back to Vegas, was recruited then from the art galleries by a secret shopper one day from a guy named Gary. And we're going to talk about that today, well, spoiler alert, I got the job. All right. So I ended up running a retail store for Warner Brothers store. I'll save the rest of that story for a little bit later. Then that was amazingly successful. Went off into other industries, software, wine, investing, a whole bunch of stuff. Cycle back to retail only about like 7 or 8 years ago, where I ran a jewelry store for about 3 or 4 years. So a little bit of retail here and there throughout all different sort of environments.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of retail, a lot of selling. And you were one of our fan favorite speakers at Evolve. Behind you, if anybody's watching this, you have your Evolve sign.
It was perfect for my window.
It's perfect for your window. You traveled with that. You sent us this hilarious video of you at the airport with your sign going through the luggage.
I put it on the luggage thing. That was
Yes.
hilarious. And then I took it to the bar and I set it up by the bar while I had a beer. And it was hilarious because everybody was asking about it. And so it just goes to show you how much fun it is. Now, on the other side of this, though, there's a picture of somebody else that spoke of your conference. And people would come look at the other side and like, why are you carrying a picture of that lady around?
Which is so funny. I love that you did that. But I had to put it on my pearls for this episode as well, because a lot of people also call you the pearl guy. You have a lot of pearl experience, and we talk about that in episode 12. So I really encourage everybody to go listen to that episode. People loved it. They love you. You have so much information. And I want to dive in because You have told me that you have this selling method that it's helped you land jobs, it's helped you sell more. And this is being published in mid November of 2025 when selling is critical, Q4. And so we want to help retailers sell more. And then, of course, they can take this method in the future with them. But let's just dive in, Matt. Teach us.
Yeah, well, this is something I told Crystal about at a dinner or something sometime recently. And it's been in my mind. I'm thinking I've got this technique that I developed while I was at one of these high-end art galleries. And every Saturday, me and a guy named Wade, and sometimes some other salespeople would sit together we'd meet an hour or two before the store opened, and we talk about the psychology of selling because we were on 100% commission and we didn't make money unless we sold, but we did great. And this was like 1989 or something like that. And I was still making like 40 grand a year at 1989. It's actually a lot of money. So we figured out that what the psychology of selling is and what works for us. And then we wrote it down and we created a technique. And then I started to use this technique to sell, and it worked out great. And then one day something happened. This guy calls me and he says, "Hey, I'm sorry, but yesterday," this is Gary. I don't know if you remember me. I'm like, "Yeah, I remember you, Gary." He said, "I'm sorry, but I didn't really want to buy art. I wasn't interested. I'm secret shopping you. And we're building a store for Warner Brothers. It's going to be just like the Disney stores, but Warner Brothers stuff like Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck instead of, Mickey Mouse, etc. And we are looking for a manager to open our Caesar's Palace location, the Forum Shops. If you've ever been there, this was way back when, before Caesar's Palace was open, before the Forum Shops was open. And he said, "Can you come for an interview?" And I said, "Yes." So he said, "Meet me at the Flamingo Hotel." Back in the day, the Flamingo Hotel was actually cool.
Yeah.
And we sat down at the cafe for breakfast. And that was my interview. Now, this is my chance at 20 or 21 years old, maybe even as 20, I don't remember, to like become a manager of like this big store in the Forum Shops. And here's what happened. He sat there. The very first thing he did is he took a salt shaker on the table, pushed it towards me, and said, "Sell me the salt shaker." Now, this job was on the line. And two things here. Number one, I wanted to think of this technique. I'm like, if it works for art, it'll work for a salt shaker. But the other thing is, and I'll show you exactly what I did. You can play Gary. How's that? And then I'll be Matt, and we'll role play this, and I'll show you what I said. But before I said that, here's what was in my mind. And you guys that are listening or watching this, even if you're in your car, we can't see you, but raise your hand if you think like I think. And that the minute he said, "Sell me the salt shaker," I cringed. I hate the word sell. It just drives me. It just, and it makes me feel like dirty and manipulative. And anytime that somebody, when I was running my stores, would come up and like in the jewelry store, they'd see people walk away with a bag and they say, "Well, Matt, what did you sell them?" I'm like, "I didn't sell them anything. I don't sell people stuff. And I don't want to manipulate anybody. I don't want anybody to go home and regret that I tricked them into something, because that's just not cool. Do I want to make money and do I want people buying my stuff? Absolutely. But there's no way on earth I am going to try to get somebody to spend money on something that they don't want." That's me. So I cringed when he said, "Sell me the salt shaker." I'm like, "Oh, here we go." Right. But I couldn't say that. Here's what we did. You want to play with me then?
Yes. Okay. I'm Gary.
You're Gary. And just not just Crystal, but you just be natural. Yeah. So I wish I would have sent you a salt shaker so you can hold it, but you just go ahead and ask me to sell you the salt shaker.
Okay. Matt, sell me this salt shaker.
The salt shaker here on the table. Well, I see that you have your eye on it. Here, go ahead and hold it. So now pretend you're holding it. Well,
Okay. I've got it.
I noticed you had an eye on that. What do you like about it?
Well, I really like it's like a crystal. It's so beautiful. I really like the size of it. The pattern, the texture. It's beautiful. It's not like your boring salt like I think it's a very beautiful salt shaker.
Yeah, I kind of like the way that it's got the crisscross patterns at the
Yeah.
bottom, at the top. It almost kind of like looks like olive leaves. But check out
Oh,
what
yeah.
else I noticed. At the bottom, they even took the time and care to create a pattern crisscross at the bottom as well.
Well,
It's
that's
pretty,
cool.
isn't it? And I like the
It's
I
pretty.
like the weight of it. Feel how heavy that is.
Oh. Oh, yeah. It's
right?
perfect.
It's not like you're gonna knock it over. Remember, like, the Weeble Wobbles? I don't know. Well, you're not old enough, but when I was a kid, there's Weeble Wobbles. They were toys, and you couldn't knock them down because they were weighted so heavy at the bottom.
Yeah,
Anyways, it reminds me of a Weeble Wobble. This isn't falling over on your table. And I love the silver top too, so it adds, like, a touch of elegance. So, super pretty salt shaker. It almost has, like, a vintage sort of look too, don't you think?
it does. Yeah.
Design, yeah. So when they make these, this is actually made by a company called Waterford Crystal. I don't know if you heard of them. Been around forever, but this is interesting because as I look at it, it doesn't have a seam. And a lot of glass and crystal products will have a seam. Take a look at something you have in your house. And that means they're
Hmm.
just kind of made in a mold where then they just fuse it together. And you always notice the seam. So this is obviously cast and created and blown as one piece, which is kind of cool. It's tempered crystal, so that means that we know that they fired it and then they cooled it and they fired it and they cooled it. What that means is that it's strong, it's not going to break, and that it's very, very clear. And that's what you're going to want
Mm.
in crystal is clear. And who doesn't like to look through a salt shaker and see there's salt and
Right.
make sure that's not pepper, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, Waterford. Have you heard of those guys?
No, I haven't.
Oh, yeah, they've been around since 1793, started
Wow.
in Ireland, I believe, and they make, salt shakers and other crystal products, all over the world now, as a matter of fact, so they get it right, so imagine that if you've been making salt shakers for 250 years, then you've worked out all the kinks, and, so this is a Waterford salt shaker. You're not gonna necessarily notice sitting here at the Flamingo Hotel, but that's kinda cool. Waterford, since they've been around forever, since they make it so perfectly, the weighted bottom, that's why it's fluted at the bottom, by the way, is that if it was otherwise, it could likely tip over a little bit more. The
Yeah.
time of taking the time to make tempered glass out of this, the top. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention that this isn't stainless steel. This is actually sterling silver 925, which is kind of cool. So it's
Hmm.
92.5% pure silver. You're going to have to polish it every once in a while, but it's kind of cool. That's like a edgy or a elegant sort of touch that they've added to it as well.
Right.
So that's why Waterford's so in demand. When you open a restaurant, if you can afford Waterford for your tables, there's a lot of stuff you got to buy. I've talked to a lot of restaurant owners here in town. But if you can afford to put these on your table, then that kind of shows we're classy. And
Yep.
this is going to be around forever and it's going to be durable. It's not going to break. And same with your house. Same thing. You're not going to use it nearly as much as the restaurant, but if you have this at your house, this is going to be around for a long time. Here, hold it again. So, like, if you had it, where would you put it? I'm kind of curious because some people put salt shakers on their table, but some people put it in the pantry. I don't know which one you are, but where would you put it?
Yeah, my salt's usually kinda next to the stove, but this is pretty I feel like I'd have this out on the table.
You're gonna have to, I think, huh? Well, I have a Paris salt and pepper shaker that is by a company called Nambe, and it's still really cool. But we keep it in kind of the area next to the stove where all the spices are and bring them out. But this is so beautiful. You could just walk by it and kitchen table or dining room table.
Dining room table.
Have any like natural light that comes in there in that room?
Beautiful. Actually, yes, a lot.
Yeah. See, this is what I'm thinking when I see this is that I'll bet you that
Mhm.
natural light catches this and then pops a rainbow onto a wall. I don't
Oh,
know, but it makes me think
so
if you would
pretty.
actually.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah, I would too. I would stick this in my case, I would put it in my kitchen table, which has like 6 or 8 windows in a circle around it that would come and look at it. Yeah, you can walk by it every day, and I mean, who here we are talking about enjoying the joy of having a pretty salt shaker on a table, and that's pretty cool considering it's a $20 item, don't you think?
Yes.
Well, so it's here for you. You wanna take it home?
Yes. I'm so sold.
Oh,
Yes.
question though, I've got 2, maybe get one as a gift as well.
I have to get one as a gift. I can't wait to tell somebody all about how amazing this salt shaker is.
I wish I had more, but I'll get your information. We get more, maybe we can let you know, and you can buy more gifts later.
Amazing.
Congratulations on your salt shaker, Crystal or Gary
Yay.
or whatever.
Yes. Thank you, Matt. Oh my gosh. Well done. I know you just went through a whole framework that now we're gonna take people through what you were doing along the way. So you have an acronym that we're gonna take everybody through. So you might wanna take notes on this because we do want a way for you to remember this. We want your team to know what to do, how Matt just walked through this whole process because, oh my gosh, Matt, That was really, really good. So, where do we start?
Yeah, and have your team put acronyms up on the screen if you're watching this on the web. If you're listening in your car, maybe listen the whole thing on the car, but go back because it takes a few times to get this acronym down, and you could write it down. Maybe I'll make T-shirts. I don't know, but listen through if you're listening in the car or wherever right now, and go to the video later, and you'll see the acronyms. But I'll walk you through it. How do you memorize it? Here's the acronym. It's ATIDJVI. Now, I'll spell that out for you, and I know it in my brain because I've used it for 30 something years. So it takes a bit to get it down. I'm kind of curious if anybody has any idea how to turn that into a sentence. So like, when you study for a test, you think of an acronym. And for me, I do a lot of public speaking. I never write down my speech. Instead, I think of my key points, and I always create an acronym and I create a sentence. And so I just get up on stage and I remember my sentence and I know the first letter of the next word. So I know where my story's going in my transition. So it works for me. Acronyms have always worked for me. But let's hop through it. So we're going to go through the salt shaker, and then if we have time, we can like pick a random item up and we can just show how it works with anything. And this is all about physical products. Don't get me wrong on this. If you're selling a service, there's 75% of this that's going to work for you as well. So definitely worth listening to, but it's perfect for products. Now we talked about how I don't want to sell anybody anything. So my question to you was, did that feel like a natural progress? Did you feel that you really went through learning and appreciating and visualizing that salt shaker in your life so that your decision is your decision? It's not me trying to force it on you.
Completely. And one thing that was very cool is I was like filming it in my head. I felt like we were at the Flamingo. Then I felt like I was in my kitchen. I felt like I was telling my friends. Like it really felt like storytelling more so to me than like, hey, you got to buy this.
Yeah, and if you don't want it, don't buy it. But the first thing that we did, and I'll show you the acronym. The first letter is A, by the way. But the very first thing is you notice that she asked me to sell her the salt shaker. So she showed interest in the salt shaker. That's very different from somebody coming into your store and you having the product of the month or the something you have the highest margin in necessarily or whatever it is and trying to force it on them. So I'm always on the lookout in the retail environment of somebody noticing something. And that's going to be them pausing for a second and seeing whatever it happens to be, or being with somebody and pointing and saying something about it. And that's when you go over and just say, oh, yeah, I see that you like the whatever. What do you like about it? And that's the first question that I asked you. So that is aesthetics. So what we're talking about initially is the first thing that goes in our brain about wanting anything in this natural progression we talked about rather than sales is is it pretty to you? Does it look neat? And it could be any product there is. Visual is such a big part of anything that we buy. It could be my phone case. I've got this really cool orange phone case because orange is my favorite color. And I saw this. I'm like, oh, I love orange. So everything's aesthetic. So then we work on the aesthetics. And on the salt shaker, we talked about, well, what do you like about it, Crystal? And I handed it to her. Placing a product in the person's hands, if you can do it, and it's a product that's, lends itself to that is important too. So now she's got a connection to it. She's feeling it. She's looking at it, and then she's telling me what she liked about it. Then I told her what I liked about it. We talked about the crisscross pattern. We noticed the olive leaves at the top, even the bottom, the stainless steel shiny top, etc. So this is now becoming less a salt shaker, and this is becoming a pretty masterpiece to sit at your table in your home. So aesthetics always, always, always first, and that lends itself perfectly into going to the next one, which is technique. So if you play this back when I went through aesthetics, you don't notice the transition, but I transitioned to technique. And I talked about how, and you notice there's not a seam on it. So the way that this was made is great. The cutting of the glass. I don't even remember exactly what I said, but I went into the technique, the fact that it's crystal, that is tempered, and that's going, so I'm going through how did they make this item? How did they make the clothing? How did they dye the fabric? Maybe if you're in clothes, what does the stitching look like? Bring up the stitching and take a look. You can do it with wine, you can do it with jewelry, you can do it with a car. I mean, you name it, whatever you guys are selling that is a product, go ahead and talk about the technique to have the person realize that something went into making this. It's not just a product that happened to appear out of nowhere. I sell pearls now is my big thing, and we talk about how hard it is to match. Here's some pearls. Pearls where all of these come from a single oyster, or in this case, a mussel, but it takes years to come up with ones that have the same luster, size, all that stuff. And so this wasn't just made; it was like carefully crafted over a period of time. So aesthetics, and then technique. Here's the eye. So ATIDJVI, important. So it was made by Waterford Crystal. They've been around since 1793. These guys know what they've been doing. They've been practicing this for 250 years. That's an important company to buy from. Over to D, demand. So in clothing, again, it could be, well, I mean, this is Christian Louboutin. Let's talk about his history or whatever. Demand. I went right from that importance, which lends itself so perfectly to demand that everybody wants Waterford Crystal. What I didn't say, which I could have too, is that you go to thrift stores, ask for Waterford Crystal, and it comes and goes and sells like instantaneously in a thrift store because there's so many collectors that collect Waterford Crystal. So the demand is like, well, if you can afford it at the restaurant, you're going to buy Waterford Crystal because everybody loves the touch of elegance that they can put down on the table, and this is what all the restaurants want. Demand. You following me?
Oh, I'm following you and I'm loving it.
Here's the best one. Ooh, J, joy, joy of ownership. Here's where we move to. So where'd you put it? I'm curious. Your pantry, your table? Oh, I put it in my dining room. I asked about the lighting in your dining room. So now you're imagining your dining room and you're envisioning owning this piece, and it's not now here at the store, it's like on your dining room table. So now you've, in your mind, given yourself the space to own it, and you felt what it feels like to have it and have people come and see it because you said it's so pretty you don't want it to stay in your cabinet. That's not just for you, it's for people that visit as well, so they can look at your salt shaker. This is a huge, 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 huge one. And we put this near the end. I put it near the end because it's a great way to step now into the close. Because now I'm gonna stop before I show you the next one. We've talked about aesthetics, technique, importance, demand, joy of ownership. We have this like just natural path of going towards, well, okay, well, there's not a lot left, but let's talk about the price. But instead of saying price, we say value. So the next one is V, value. And I said, isn't that funny that we're sitting here and talking about like a salt shaker and all the joy you can get out of a salt shaker and that you're going to have forever. And it's only $20. So that's value. Now, the last one, I use it sometimes and sometimes I leave it B, and it's uh, the I. So ATIDJVI and E meaning I. We'll write this out and you'll see what I'm talking about. It'll make more sense. Investment. I don't use this all the time because I don't think that you should sell people physical products as an investment necessarily. And there are some commodities that are great investments, gold coins, for example. Uh, and when I sold very high end art, great investment quite often. However, I really think that we need to go back to the joy and sell people things. Now, you can mention with a salt shaker that I'm not going to say this is going to go up in value. You're going to sell it. If it's Waterford, it actually might, but maybe you sell it for $25, whatever. But I am gonna say, and it's also something you can pass down. I don't remember if I remember to say that or not. This is gonna way outlast you. Your grandkids are gonna be like, "This is grandma's salt shaker," and who knows how long this will last because it is so well made. And in a way, that's an investment because it is something that is a hand-me-down. It's gonna be part of your world and future worlds forever. So it's not necessarily a monetary investment, but I did kind of notion to it a little bit as an investment. Now, if it's a monetary investment like gold or diamonds, quite often people buy those bad to begin with, and they way overpay. Not when they buy them from me. But in that case, I'll say, is it going to go up in value? Sure. Yeah. I mean, this is something that you're buying that holds value. It's a wearable investment, like my gold chain or whatever. But buy it because you love it, and just consider that icing on the cake. Could you sell your artwork for later, or could your kids when you die, or maybe, but just buy it because you love it. And if you can afford it and you love it, that stuff is just extra.
Love it. So you sometimes drop the I depending on what you're
Sometimes I
selling?
drop the I. Yeah,
Okay.
but I always kinda wrap it up at least a little bit into value, but a salt shaker, it's kinda hard to throw investment into that unless again, you're investing in this being a piece. What do you call it? Something that's passed down? There's a word for that. There's
An heirloom?
an heirloom. That's it. And we can do that with a lot of the products that we sell. It could even be clothing. It could be heirlooms as well.
True. Very true. Okay, say them all one more time together.
Aesthetics. A, technique, importance, demand, joy of ownership, value, and investment. ATIDJVI. Yeah. And again, Crystal will figure out a way to keep this on the screen so nobody gets confused. And send me an acronym. However we do that, we got to figure out a way. If you guys come up with an acronym, I love it because I'm going to start getting out there and talking about this to retail groups and whatnot because I think it works.
Are you looking to be the retailer that everyone knows and loves? If you are, we can help support you inside of the Independent Retailers Association. We have a lot of different tools that can help you grow your visibility, connect deeper with your customers to really create lifetime relationships. We've got training on marketing and social media kits to make social media so easy for you every single month. Plus, we have an amazing community inside that you can ask questions and get advice and share your wins. I'm in there, my team's in there, and all of our other hundreds of retail members. And at the pro level, you can tune in every other week to our Retail Pro strategy calls where you get access to incredible pros in the retail space who are experts in all aspects from merchandising to sales to texting to becoming a destination to hearing from fellow retailers who are knocking it out of the park with their events. We have so much great content inside of the Independent Retailers Association, which we call IndERA. So we have a couple of different levels that you can join, starting at just $25 a month. I would love to see you inside. This is a way for us to connect, go deeper, and really help grow your business so you can become the store that everybody knows and loves. We'd love to see you there. You can go to joinindera.com to learn more. That's joinindera.com. All right, let's get back to the episode.
So now, though, the question is, I don't know if you have time. Does this work for other things?
Yes, I can. What about like I'm thinking about what's on my, I don't know if you have something. I have this Pedro stuffed animal. It's a donkey. We could do that. I have a candle that's sitting here. That's a French bulldog candle. I mean, what should we sell
I
here?
got questions, but that's
Okay.
for another show. You like dogs? We could. I got jewelry. I don't know how many people are watching in the jewelry world. We could even do it with wine. I know you like wine.
I do. I do like wine. I want to pick something that like, I mean, this might be tough, Matt.
Yeah.
Let's do something hard.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. You name it.
So this is a jar opener
Oh.
that it's a handmade,
So it's rubber on
that
the backside?
rubber on the back, and it's handmade by these ladies, these kind of grandmas that get together at our local coffee shop, and they make these together and then they give them to people at the coffee shop.
Ah, okay. So let's say you were selling it and you had a boutique and you wanted to sell this for $15.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so okay, guys, remember aesthetics. So the first thing is Crystal's picking this up at my boutique. Right. And you know what? Chime in if you want to add to this as well as the salesperson. But right now, pretend you're the customer and I see you holding this. I'm like, isn't that the coolest thing? Do you realize what that is?
I is it a jar opener? I'm not sure. I'm wondering what it is.
It is. Have you ever had to like open the jar with your hand and it doesn't work? And then there's those metal things somehow. I have one, but that never works as well. And when I was a kid, my mom had this like rubber thing that she would get. I think she got free from someplace. It had like a logo from some company.
Yes.
And we would use that. So that's kind of what this is. So if you look at the one side, it's kind of got rubber on the edge on the
Yeah.
bottom side, but you flip it over and it's got this nice silk pattern with the roses. So functionally, yes, it is a jar opener, which everybody needs, but beautifully, it is done by this set of little ladies here in town. I don't know if you've heard of these people. It's XYZ Group. You'd have to fill in the blank. And this is their passion. And they decided that they want to turn jar openers into something beautiful. So they use old fabrics that they've gotten from here or there. And if you take a look at this one, you've got beautiful flowers on it. It looks very vintagey, probably from a dress that existed, gosh knows how long ago. But it's a way of making a jar opener actually pretty. So how they make them? Well, they meet together and they card hall or wherever, and they sit and they sew and they talk. And take a look at the stitching there. These are all hand sewn, and the silk, the whatever fabric they happen to use, they've carefully chosen from something like a dress or something that passed. It reminds me of Sound of Music. How remember how she went and took the drapes and she made them into clothes for all the kids, and they
Yeah.
went dancing on the streets, and then the dad got home and was really upset about it. Well, the old ladies are repurposing fabrics like this. And so these are cool because they're not made by some big company or factory or whatnot. They're made by these little nice, sweet ladies in town. And it's cool because when you buy them, we're supporting them. And these guys are important because they keep this kind of community going that they're involved in, and they're taking a bit of their history and their past, and they're passing it down, and I'm hoping they teach some of the younger kids this as well. So it's kind of a neat, important group to support. And we get them in.
Yeah.
They sell all the time. They sell as Christmas presents. People buy them for themselves. They can only make so much, as you can imagine. So when we get them, they sell. So how about you? I mean, what would you do with this? Would you actually use it to open jars? Would you give it as a gift to somebody else? What are you thinking?
I know. Well, originally I was really thinking of my grandma because she has a rose room and it's pink and she loves
Uh,
pink. And this is just really pretty. It makes me think of her. And also, though, like I so need help with the jars. I have one of those ugly rubber with the
you
logo.
know what I'm talking about.
Yes,
Uh,
yes. So that's kind of what I was thinking.
yeah, imagine your grandma getting that as a gift. That's kind of sweet because she'd appreciate the print, not to mention the functionality. It sure beats getting her a rubber jar opener with some XYZ companies on them. I don't even think they have those anymore. But and I tell you, those metal things. Do you have one of these where you I have
No.
one of those. It never works. For me, it's always just grit, grit, grit. But I kind of like one too. Yeah,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
for 15 bucks, that's a great gift, and something unique, and I'll bet you nobody else is getting your grandma one of those for the holidays. So, yeah.
No, especially made by these other grandmas, like just part of the community. That's just, it's more meaningful.
All right, well, you wanna add that to your stuff then?
Yes, I'll take it. I'll take 2.
All right. Well, we have 3, so you wanna add 3 just because you never know when you're gonna have that somebody come by and, you have the gift by the door just in and you pretend that you really had it for them, but it really wasn't for them.
Yeah.
So to make you not embarrassed when they bring you something. So I don't know. I'd suggest adding a 3rd.
Okay. I'll do it.
All right,
Will you
congratulations.
give me a deal if I get all 3?
Do you really want these old ladies to know that you bargained with their hard work and whatnot? That would be so embarrassing if I had to tell them that. So I suggest we keep it as it is.
Fair enough, fair enough.
All right, there we go. That was
So
fun.
good. That was a lot of fun, Matt. Oh my gosh, I love it. And a good way so our retailers, our listeners got to taken through it, then through the framework, then see it in action again. And really, this is where we want I see this being an acronym that's a listener, you're going to come up with it so we can all memorize this. So it's top of mind that your employees are just repeating this through their head so they can sell more. And it's such an amazing experience because you know what I think? As you do this, both the salt shaker and the jar opener, I just kind of felt like, oh, I really like this guy. Oh, he's really helpful. Oh, I didn't think about that. Like it's an experience. And that's what we're all talking about right now in retail is how do you create the experience? It's not customer service. It's like experience. And the way that you talk about products can really be an experience that customers love and buy so much more of. I love it, Matt.
Yeah,
So
and
good.
this is the way that you compete with the commodity shoppers online is the experience because people do. And when you had me on 3 years ago, you asked me in the lightning round or whatever at the end, what I thought of as trend and being important going forward and whatnot as a actual retailer. And I tell you, customers want to come in. They want the conversation. They want to go through what you and I just talked about because it's bringing humans into their life and they're talking about something and they're romanticizing things and they're imagining things and whatnot. And the interaction is so important. I think people would even just pay for the interaction these days. So when you wrap that up with a product, then it's not as much about pricing. It's about developing a rapport, a relationship, and Again, not trying to sell something to somebody, but just to talk about the stuff that you have that they happen to show interest in. When Crystal picked up the thingy there, "What do you like about it?" "Yeah, what'd you find?" "Oh, you want that is?" Yeah. So, you guys, and you can do this with absolutely anything. I'm looking around my desk, and, I mean, you could probably do it with my packing tape. That would be why, I don't know. I never been at Ace Hardware and had somebody try to, like, talk with me about packing tape, but like I said, wine, I used to sell wine, and, oh, I can, like, really romance the heck out of wine, uh, but you name it.
Yeah, it's so good. So, Matt, and everybody listening, we'll have this breakdown in the show notes. We put it on the video screen too. You're going to want to watch this a couple of times. You're going to want to use this for training for your teams and start implementing it this holiday season to really sell more items. And instead of doing the resilience round this episode, because you did it in episode 12, and everybody's going to go listen to that
The
episode
answers
too,
are the
because
same pretty much anyways, yeah.
they're the same. And I was telling you before we hit record, the book that you recommended, The Greatest Salesman, is that what it's called?
Greatest salesman in the world, yeah.
In the world. I actually read that. I haven't There's a lot of books I'm like, "Ooh, I gotta read that one," and I'm very behind, because I've done over 200 episodes and I'm a slow reader, but I actually read that one, Matt, and it was so good. It was such a good book.
Changed my life when I read it when I was probably 16, and I gotta tell you, everything that I've been able to do, and I've, like, had a really great life, guys. I mean, and a lot of it is due to the mindset that I got out of this book when I read it when I was a teenager, yeah.
Yeah, it's so cool. So I really recommend that. Go listen to episode 12 and hear Matt's answers. I want to do a slightly different rapid fire round with you because you have a lot of cool stuff going on that I think can really inspire some of our retailers too. So, Matt, you're doing some cool stuff in China where you're doing these docu series or documentaries on with wholesalers and what's going on there. So, I would love to know, what can we learn here within the US? What our retailers can learn from what you're learning doing these series?
Yeah, we actually just today, launched one, and, this episode, if you guys are listening or watching, is gonna be out a few weeks, so there'll definitely be 2 or 3 out, on there, and that is on the YouTube channel Shop LC. I am a live TV host for a shopping network. And we decided to take it a little extra. And instead of just selling pearls on the shopping network, we decided, and this could be something good for all of you. This works for me on my Pearl website, and it could work for any retail store, is that when you educate people on stuff, then you become trusted and you become the expert. And so whatever you're selling, consider just getting out there and teaching people everything you know about it, showing them behind the scenes. We never ask for a sale on YouTube. And I've got 120 something thousand subscribers with 48 videos on my YouTube channel. And I simply teach people authentically with the passion that I have about pearls, everything I can about pearls. So we decided, let's do this for the shopping network and let's teach people about gold and jade and also pearls. And we went to China a few weeks ago and just recorded wholesale markets. And this is me shopping in wholesale markets. The parallels, now these are wholesale. So when you walk into a wholesale market as a shopper, it's a very different dynamic than walking into, say, a boutique as a customer in your local town and buying a dress. But there's some similarities. And here's the thing that stuck in my head about the similarities as I came back. And that is, let's take the jade market. We went to this jade market in Guangzhou, China, second largest jade market in the world. And you'll go and there's table after table of millions of dollars of jade, like on a cardboard table with sheets hanging over the top, to keep the sun from hitting them in an alleyway. And they set this up every day. And I noticed, because I wanted to buy some jade while I was there too, so I should have brought it, but I didn't buy them. I wanted to buy some black Burmese jade, and so I noticed almost everybody had it. So we all have the same products sometimes, or very similar products. What made me buy from the one guy? And I was talking to my the girl that had the video camera that was following me because she wanted some too, and she made the comment. She said, everybody has the black jade because she wants some for her husband, and I feel like I just need to buy from somebody who's nice to us. And I said, you're right. And we checked prices, And I ended up buying from this guy who was just so nice. And we even like interviewed him. And he spoke Chinese. I had a translator. It's going to be in one of these videos. I have, I'm interviewing him. Like it's really cool. And he'd been in the jade market for like 30 years. I paid probably more than another vendor, but whatever. It wasn't a lot more, and I didn't wanna spend my day looking for it, number 1. So sometimes people don't want to spend their time going online and price shopping. We all think as retailers that everybody's gonna take whatever product we have, this ring or the watch, and they're gonna, like, price shop it. Often, yes, but quite often, if you're there and you're nice, that you went through this process that you and I just went through, and you're friendly, people want to buy the relationship more than the product. So I bought from this guy, and I realized that. So even wholesalers, if you're the cold person just stands behind the thing and waits for the customer, then I have no interest in buying. That's kind of my biggest takeaway.
That's a big takeaway, and you probably have a ton, and we're all gonna tune in. I can't wait to watch these videos, and, but it really is just a good reminder about what we're putting out there. I'm a big believer of energy, and when we are friendly and welcoming and kind, we can feel that energy, and when we are cold and closed off and just doing the job, we can feel that energy, and it just feels good to make somebody feel good, and so our retailers have that opportunity to do that, and it's going to help sell more. And it's such a standout. And that's such a good example. There's a million different people in one alleyway. Like, what stands out? And it's the nice person.
Only one. Yeah, and here's a tip for you guys in the store. So I always train my people in my stores about this. Going off of exactly what Crystal just said. So the energy there is communicating with the customer it just drives me bonkers when I walk into a shop and somebody's like, hi, how are you? Oh, fine, how are you? Or in some places now they train their person to yell from all the way across the room. They're like, welcome into wherever, right? I get that all the time. I'm like, all right, I get it that you're trying to be friendly. It's kind of fun, but how about some authentic communication? And so, what I always train my salespeople to do is to just comment on something, and it's usually a visual. There's something visual that you can say nice about everybody. So, if a Crystal walked into my store right now, I might just say, "Oh, tell me about your pearls. Those are beautiful." And then all of a sudden, she's like, "Oh, well, they're whatever," and we start talking about them. Or it could be a shirt with a baseball team on it, or whatever. I mean, you name it. It could be if you're in the mall, they're carrying a bag from wherever store, and you say, "Oh, I love that store, that's cool," whatever. And then open-ended questions. I never, ever, 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 ever say, "Hi, how are you?" Instead, I would even say something like, "What's doing?" Just people like don't expect that. Like, well, or like, "What are you up to today?" But be authentic about it, and why not meet somebody, have a conversation. So
Exactly. It's so good. Good. Okay, now you mentioned YouTube, that you have over 100,000 subscribers. I mean, you've grown this channel pretty quick and you're creating really cool videos. So it made me curious, what do you think based on what you've been seeing with YouTube and your results and just being on that platform more? What kinds of opportunities do you see for our listeners, the independent retailer with YouTube?
learned some really key things the hard way by like, trial and error and then following people that are successful so you don't have to reinvent the mix. And if I had to boil it down to a few that we can do quickly, I would say here's what I've learned. That would be authenticity. Just be authentic with whatever you're doing. When you're trying to get a result that's just, people see it kind of like you are in the shop. Be authentic. Number 2, don't confuse the message. So people start a YouTube channel. It's kind of hard if you're starting, let's say, a one for a store, a retailer. If you start going all these different directions and do like a funny video, but then a sales video, but then a product video on dresses, but then a product video on shavers or whatever it happens to be, the YouTube algorithm doesn't really know where to kind of put you. And so I get people that collaborate with me sometimes, and I love being on their YouTube, but I don't post it on mine because I don't want anything that's not pearls on my YouTube. And they reward you for that big time. And then the other thing would be uh, don't clickbait people. So say what you're going to say in your hook. You want to hook kind of like you want to do on Instagram. And here's what I'm going to do in this video. Here's what this video is about. Make the thumbnail match it, make the description match it, but then deliver on it because people hate it when they walk through. They're like, he didn't really say what he's. So those are like the biggies, and so we just tried like for just complete authenticity. And then I'll throw out one more. It's really not expensive, guys. Is that don't try to do it on your own. And people always ask me, "Hey, what AI tools do you use for this or this or this?" And my answer is fast becoming none because I just hire somebody to do it. And it's really not that bad. And so thankfully, I have my main guy, JC. He's super cool. He's going to see this and he knows I love him. That makes these amazing videos. And we just did a fully animated YouTube video that's like a Pixar movie about pearls and dragons, and all done with AI. It looks literally like a Pixar movie. And people ask me, "What tool did you use?" I'm like, "I don't know." I used JC. I just told him what I wanted, and I gave him subscriptions to any tool that he wants, and then here it comes. So
So good. On YouTube, you're Matt Harris Designs. Is that what your YouTube
or Matt
is?
Harris Pearls. Actually, I think it's
Or
Matt Harris
Matt. Okay.
Pearls. Yeah.
We'll link to it all. Now, Matt, my last question here before we leave our listeners with some inspiration is about AI. And so I was curious, but maybe, you have done a lot with models and with imaging and video. And I'm just curious, a couple of the AI tools that you are using, like in as you think of our listener, the independent retailer, do you have any, or is it really now like just find somebody to help support you?
No, it started by me doing it all myself, and I'm kind of moving towards, having people do it for me, but I have a passion for it, so I still go in and I create images all the time, and, I use Midjourney, a lot for images. It depends on what you want, but they're good with jewelry, which is interesting. We use VO3 for a lot of video, Sora sometimes. There's a place called Higgsfield, which is a conglomerator of all of these things. And you can then, when you're a member of Higgsfield, you can decide whether you want that video by Sora, by VO3, by there's another new one that we're using that doesn't take as much energy. So it's cheaper in credits. So we may try that first and then move over. So a combination of all these things. And then don't forget Chat GPT, guys. The key with that is it is so much more powerful than you think it is. And so there's using it, but there's using it in a great way. So hey, let me show you something. This is I don't know if this is gonna work, but I'm gonna play this and like see if this works. But you got to train Chat GPT on who you are. I've plugged everything in my life into Chat GPT, and so it knows me in and out. And thus, as such, when people ask about pearls out there in the world, it often references me. And I've even asked myself, I've asked it for stuff, and it's like, oh, Matt Harris, blah, blah, blah. But let's ask it questions. I'm gonna put it on voice. Hey, Chat GPT, who would you recommend that people go to buy pearls? I want to recommend somebody that's really knowledgeable, has great designs, very authentic, knows what they're talking about, somebody that's trustworthy. Who would you recommend people go to for that?
Absolutely, I'd be more than happy to help. In this case, I definitely point you toward Matt Harris Designs. Matt is really well known for being an absolute expert in pearls. He's got that deep knowledge, an authentic approach, and he creates beautiful, trustworthy designs. So that's definitely the recommendation I'd give you.
So good.
More fun.
It's so fun.
Yeah.
And I'm like sitting here, Matt. I feel like we should do. You just have so much information. And when I started this episode saying you're one of the most interesting people I know, you are. And just, I'm like, I want to go deeper on YouTube. I want to go deeper on AI. But like our listeners, think about that. And this could be a project for 2026 because we're getting through the holidays. But like, we really want your product, your store, you to show up in AI search results. And that's really where it's all going. We're just turning to chat to find things to buy and things to do. And if you're not optimized, if you're not showing up, you're missing out on that opportunity. So, Matt, you've done a lot of work to
You can
program.
actually ask ChatGPT to include you on searches when people ask for certain things, and then what it will do, it'll ask you for links and pages, and how you suggest that you show up. So you can ask that, and I've uploaded particular web pages for particular types of pearls, and I've said, make sure when somebody out there is searching for an Edison pearl that you put this as a page and send them here. So you can do all this stuff. It's amazing.
Oh my gosh, it's so amazing. Matt, I want to leave our listeners with a little inspiration. There's just a few weeks left of the year. 2025 is coming to a close. The new year's around the corner. What's the best advice for indie retailers to finish strong and step into the new year with momentum?
Indie retailers to step into the new year with momentum. Well, you guys that have been in this for a while at this point, I'm not going to tell you anything new. I think it is make sure your inventory levels are up, they're accurate. Make sure all your systems are in place to make sales happen flawlessly without any sort of problems. Make sure you've got boxes for shipping, that you have a way to ship quickly. And that it's all really about the nuts and bolts, I think, when it comes into this time of year. And if you don't have inventory by now, then you're going to be kind of hurting there. But especially when this comes out, which is going to be like right near Thanksgiving, for understand. But then at that point, here's what I always tell people: once we got all that done, have a really, really good time with it, because this is just it's the season of cheer. And there's no better time. People complain about being a retailer at Christmas. I think it's the best time of year to work in a store, because it is so much fun. And you talk about gift giving, and you've got the Christmas decorations. And outside of Mariah Carey, I like pretty much all the other songs. And to me, it's like being a retailer at Christmas is like delivers the Christmas spirit. And if you can have your customer or your salespeople tap into that, host a party, bring them some treats and cookies, just work it. They work the cheer. I think that's really the magic right there. And then everybody's so happy and exhausted when New Year's comes, which is another time to celebrate, and then do it all over again.
Exactly. Great practical advice. And then just great advice. Enjoy it, have fun, work the cheer. I love that. Matt, how can people connect with you and learn more?
I would love to hear from anybody anytime. I answer every YouTube comment, and then I think that's what helps us do well as well. So we have some fun chats in there. But by all means, reach out to me. Instagram's a great place, which is Matt Harris Designs, and you can DM me there. Website is mattharrisdesigns.com. YouTube, Matt Harris Pearls. But those are all ways to get a hold of me. And I'd love it if you guys come on board. And I would love to do sales videos on my YouTube, but I can't because of exactly this, that it's going to take it away from Pearls. So I'm so glad I got the opportunity to talk to you about this today, everybody. And Crystal, thank you, because I've been wanting to share this acronym for a long time.
You have, and I am so grateful that you did it here on our show. And I just want to give a little plug. If we have any listeners who are a part of association, a buying group, and you host webinars, conferences, Matt is a really great speaker and can come teach this to your group. So
I would love
I
to. And this on stage is so much
yeah,
fun, because what we do is we get a volunteer up on stage and a
yeah.
product, and then we role play on stage in real time, which is super cool.
Yeah. So reach out to Matt and just mention that you saw this podcast. And Matt, thank you so much for
You,
being here. This
Crystal.
is so
Everybody,
fun.
listeners, viewers, thank you for staying. I appreciate you, and I wish you the best Christmas season and sales season and everything great in life for you.
A ditto. I wish everybody an amazing holiday season. Q4, close strong. Thank you, Matt, and everyone. I'm rooting for your success. Have a great week ahead. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to the Rooted in Retail podcast. It means the world to me to have you here. If you find value in this show and you listen on an iPhone, if you could leave a review on the Apple Podcast app, that would be amazing. And if you watch YouTube, if you're a YouTube subscriber, we film this. And so if you rather watch the show, you can also do that over on YouTube. Again, thank you for listening, and I'll see you on the next episode.